are you?
Me? I'm nobody.
Saul has gotten into some situations, but dude, this character Hutch, bro, it is next level. I mean, tell me the intensity. I've heard that you wanted to do your own stunts. I mean, I've heard so much, but I want to get it straight from you. Tell me everything.
Yeah, look, I was doing Saul, and my brother-in-law sent me a screen grab of an ad for Saul, Better Call Saul in China. And I thought, wow, they're watching the show in China. I should do a movie that could play around the world. And action movies play around the world. And I'm in pretty good shape. I never hurt my back. I never hurt my knees. I'm willing to train, right? So I put it out like to my manager, and we went to some producers and I said, I think I could play an action lead I'll train. I'll start training right away. And they were into it. I said, I'll play a regular guy, and I want to do my own fighting. So I worked really hard for 2 years, and I really wanted to, right away from the start, because I come from comedy, as you know, I wanted to do something that was not ironic or not a joke. I wanted to full on commit, lose myself, play it earnestly, and try to pull off the fighting. And so I was surrounded by the best in the business as far as that goes. David Leitch, Kelly McCormick, directors, producers of Atomic Blonde, John Wick, Deadpool, trained by Daniel Bernhardt, the best stunt actor in the business. Ilya Naishuller directed the movie. He made Hardcore Henry. Derek Kolstad wrote it, who wrote John Wick. So I was surrounded by people who are willing to take me to that other place. And we made Nobody.
First question for you. Give me one word to describe this experience. I love this movie. I'm a huge action person. It was edge of your seat, the sweaty palm. I was like so taken with this story. But for you, give me one word to describe the experience of working on this film.
Exciting. There's probably a much better word for it, but exciting is the first word I thought of. So I'll go with that. It was just exciting.
I love action movies. And I would say on your resume, Deadpool 2, Atomic Blonde, Hobbs and Shaw, those were fun interviews. You certainly know action. So what drew you? I put this right up there with all of those. Tell me what drew you to this story.
Bob Odenkirk. That's what did. Just the idea that he is the atypical action star, and what could we do with him? How do we make action for him that where he feels like, you can go on a journey with him, that I think is super connectable, because he's kind of an everyman, and yet he can still take down the bad guys and still win in the end and get what he needs to protect, feel like he's protecting his family. And honestly, that's it in spades.
All right, no spoilers. This interview is going to be spoiler free, but the first question I have to ask is, what do you feel in your body when it's intense like that as you film?
Well, I'm an actor, so I make believe. I make believe, and I make sure that more than anything, that you guys are feeling the tension, and that you guys are worried for us. And I think that's the main key, right? To make sure that you transfer that experience over to you guys.
Well, you succeeded, because again, I really was like freaking out. All right, working with Bob Odenkirk, I've talked to him a couple of times. He's just a really nice guy. But in this, particular film, there are, again, as I said a second ago, intense scenes with him. Tell me what it was like to work with Bob.
Yeah, he's just a super nice guy and relaxed, and he's also really talented. So we just naturally fell into these scenes together. Playing a long-term couple, going through some difficulties, and it was just very easy to be in that spot, to be in that situation together. It just felt very natural.
How did it find its way to you?
I got a script in the summer of 2018 saying Bob Odenkirk, action film written by Derek Kolstad from John Wick. Have a look. And I knew just from before reading the synopsis, because I never read the synopsis, I go right for the script. I don't want to be spoiled. A year or so before that, I was talking to my agent, and I said, Mike, it would be amazing if I was to do the next film in America. It'd be great to do a movie that has a comedian with a shotgun in a gritty kind of setting. Not too big budget, nothing too small budget, something that's smart budgeted, and that's what I want. And I get that script and the notes that ask and you shall receive. It really was perfect. It's not to say Bob's a comedian, but you know the background and everything. So it's unexpected choices. Yeah.
Did you know Bob before working on this with him?
I didn't. No. I mean, he kind of sought us out. So he wanted, it's his idea. He wanted Derek Kolstad to write it. We have a relationship with him, obviously, from John Wick. And, and he wanted our action. And so somehow he found, I mean, he's a force of nature. He connected us and let us go on the journey with him. And I think we worked incredibly well together, and I'm really proud of the picture.
I've always wanted to ask an action movie director this question. Do you only get one shot and you got to get it right? Or are you able to, do it multiple times? Because I don't see how you could get it over and over.
Well, it all depends on the shot. There's shots that cost money to do another take, and there's shots that cost time, which is also money, but not as expensive. For example, if you want to crash a car, I don't think I ever needed a second take. In Russia, we have a saying, you measure 7 times, you cut once. So that's what we do. We line up the shot. We know what we're doing. We have one Humvee that we got to crash. You set up the cameras and you rehearse the hell of it, and you go and do it in one take, and it's great. And it's never failed me that aspect so far. But you are allowed, of course, for action when you do punches and setups, and to have some. The thing is, if you're prepped, 3 takes is all you need. If you're not prepped, 10 is not going to help you. You know what I mean?
I have to ask about a certain co-star here. There's no spoilers in this question, but dude, tell me a Christopher Lloyd story, because just seeing him on the screen, seeing you blew me away. But Christopher Lloyd, and I'm thinking, look, these two had to have had a lot of fun working together. Tell me a story.
Well, Christopher Lloyd told me that he's never done an action movie and that he couldn't wait to handle the shotguns. They're not real shotguns. They're pretend, they're dummies, but he had like 5 or 6 slung around his neck, and he was like a kid. He was grinning and laughing the whole time, because it really is like playing. We used to play Army in the forest behind my house. It's like kids playing to make an action movie. Bringing a smile to Christopher Lloyd's face was the greatest joy that I had. And I also got to hang out with him a little bit, and he's a very sweet guy. He was very thankful to be in this movie.
You have been in some incredible films. And the other day I actually was watching one, and I knew I was going to talk with you. And I said, I'm going to ask her. It was Gladiator that was on, and that movie's always on. And no matter what part of the film, I am glued, and I take the rest of the experience and just get back into that film. Do you ever go back and does that ever happen to you? And do you watch, your older films back like that?
I don't even think I've ever watched, any of my movies except during press screenings that I had to. I don't really do that at all. My kids haven't seen my movies most of the time because I haven't even shown them. I just I like to make a difference between our home life and my work, and so I don't really. I like the action of doing it. I don't necessarily like watching it. I'm a little bit of a perfectionist. I'm always suffering like a dog when I'm looking at myself and going why didn't I do this? And why didn't I think of that?
I have to ask about another member of the cast, Christopher Lloyd. And no spoilers in this interview, but oh my gosh, how did you all get him?
Isn't he cool?
He's the best.
It was actually late in the casting process. I think we were worried about who would be Bob's dad, right? So it was casting everybody else and sort of let's not worry about that. And then this epiphany comes, and it's oh my gosh, of course, he is the only one to play this role. We go to him. He happens to be available. He happens to want to play, and we got him. It's just a really exciting cast member.
Last question for you, and I guess I already know the answer. Are you a true action movie fan?
I am. I think action movies allow you to feel a little deeper, have a little bit more fun and go on a crazy ride that hopefully has a little bit of a message and a little emotion in the middle of it.
Bob Odenkirk, we talked about him, but I have to ask about another star of this film, and I think you know the name I'm about to say, Christopher Lloyd. First of all, scene, and no spoilers in this question, but tell me what that experience was like for you as a director to work with the legendary Christopher Lloyd.
Okay, I'll go with one word again. I'll say it was ultra professional. It's okay, 2 words, 1.5 words. But you know, he my quick Lloyd story is when I spoke to him on the phone before he was flying out to Winnipeg to shoot, and then we thought of the idea of having a bunch of shotguns on his character. Slight spoiler, but that's okay. And I said, so we're gonna make him props so they're not too heavy. So you know, he's an 84-year-old man. You got to be careful. You can't just give him 4 shotguns and say carry them around, please. And Lloyd says, Ilya, this is my horrible Lloyd impression. He says, Ilya, in movies, actors don't have coffee in their cups, and the audience knows. Yeah, let's not do that. And that was Lloyd. So he lugged around heavy shotguns at the age of 84. And for example, I took those shotguns when I was carrying him over to him. I was just chit-chatting. Yeah, not the easiest thing. So professional and incredibly sweet and charming and kind. He's exactly that term American treasure gets bandied about a little bit, but he really is.
Me? I'm nobody.